I feel like in a way now I still haven't fully expressed the capabilities of what I can do through video, and especially through a song that like really means a lot to me. So
Yeah.
when you say like what's next moving forward, I would say I'm not really focused on dropping a big album right now. I think what would make more sense to me, and I think in 2020 what would get me farther along in my career and more in front of more people would be to make like 6 dope videos that the song really resonates with me and the song is really dope. And I don't know if,
You're onto something because I just want to say when it comes to music, I don't know if the album is really that important these days.
it's
Because if
not.
you
Yeah.
think about it, who buys an album? You listen
Yeah.
to songs throughout like all of the different albums when you're listening to
Yep.
an artist's song. At
Yep.
this point, personally, I just don't care like
Yeah.
what
Yep. album
album it's from. I don't
Yeah.
know. If you buy the whole album, I could see it, but I think it's more of like an archaic format where you would buy an
yeah.
album,
It
actual
absolutely
album.
is,
Like that's
yeah.
back when you bought a CD or a record.
I mean, if you look at people who are really popular, after the first song of the album, it just gets less and less plays.
Yeah.
Because people don't have the patience. We're in an instant gratification kind of world right now. People don't have the
That's a
patience
good
to
point
sit through
too.
something.
You make a sweet video, you make
Yep.
a couple sweet videos, honestly, and it gives you the confidence it gives you confidence that that is a good way to go about it versus you
Yeah.
being hard on yourself for not making an album. That's
Exactly.
smart.
Exactly. And I'm a big believer of kind of like using my emotions to kind of guide me.
Yeah.
And so when I think of making an album, if it makes me feel like, all right, gotta go
Yeah.
figure out how to make an album. When I think of like, just make one video and then just do it again.
That's
and then
actually
just do it again.
another
Like,
good point. Like I'm thinking now, how many times I'm wondering to myself, how many times has an artist made an album and really only put their all into like 3 songs?
Oh yeah, a
And
lot.
they're like, well, we got to make an album.
Yep.
So they're like, all
Yeah.
right, and
Album
you're just
fillers,
writing shit.
Album fillers. I hate that.
Yeah,
Like,
and you know when when it's an
Yeah,
album filler
yeah,
because like, well,
yeah.
this song sucks and nobody ever listens to it, and I
Yeah.
don't listen. You know what I mean? So it's like
yeah.
it was kind of just made to be made. It wasn't made because somebody had that passion, that drive, the fire.
And
you
it's
know?
funny because I actually have like the cover art for my album done, and the name it's going to be called More Than Ever. Most likely it will be called that. And I think I've kind of just put it on the shelf in my mind because I'm like, I feel like at one point I will need an album for myself, regardless of how many people listening. I mean, and obviously, the more people that listen, the faster I feel like I'll probably need an album because
Yeah.
I want to give that to people. But to have like one cohesive idea that's like this, these are all different things, but they all connect to a bigger and make a bigger piece. I think that's important. And growing up, definitely I would listen to albums all the way through and stuff. It's not really like that anymore.
But that was your choice. That was, I mean,
Yeah.
not your choice. That was your only option because you put the CD in.
Yeah, literally.
And
yeah,
that's like okay. And if I want to
yeah.
listen to
like
something
force
else,
the CD player in your back pocket.
yeah, you got to put another CD in.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
say that some artists are able to really pull off an album.
Oh
Like, you
yeah,
know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? Like,
Yep.
where it's like sort of like concept based and strings along through like all the songs. Like one of the sort of a recent album that released a different genre of music, but Tool's Fear Inoculum album.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I love Tool.
Bro, that album from front to back, amazing,
Mm.
amazing, and it keeps sort of like the same mood, the same feel. And all the songs provide like a certain message to add to this layered story.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
yeah, I love that.
I
But
mean,
that's
Pink Floyd,
Maynard.
The Wall.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that there's
Yeah.
albums out there. Like
Oh, there's
that.
absolutely albums that I've consumed like
Yeah.
in totality. One of them
Yeah.
actually is Chronic 2001. It's hard for me to listen to that without listening to
The whole
multi-
thing.
Yeah, pretty much. And having skits. I remember growing up and that was like really big into skits. I never did it myself, but I always thought it was such a fun thing to do.
What with the song?
Like skits in between songs.
Oh, I gotcha.
You know, like Eminem would do it a lot.
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that.
No, I've Linkin Park's first few albums for me at least. I remember.
Dude, I used to rage to
Hybrid,
Linkin Park
yeah,
when I was a kid.
like the whole, it's
Oh
easy.
my
They're dope.
God,
They're
it's so
Smash
good.
Mouth for me
Yeah.
too was like another one where I remember when I was a kid.
Slipknot.
Yeah,
I still like my sister's Slipknot
Oh,
album.
dude, hell
I wasn't
yeah.
allowed to listen to it. I was like fucking 8.
Bro, it's explicit.
Yeah.
It's too much
Or,
for
like,
an 8-year-old.
Korn.
Yeah.
I'm in my room like, whoa, this is like, not allowed.
Yo, for me,
Yeah, I know. I felt the same way because I used to listen to Eminem and like
mm,
Stan came out when I was very young. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, this song is heavy. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I would be like,
yeah, we
whoa.
used to sing that in your garage.
We used to sing that everywhere. That was
Yeah,
started in Brian's room. Shout
yeah.
out to Brian if he's
Oh
listening.
man.
As a group, that was a great song.
Mm.
So I wanted to ask. So, what's your favorite part in your creative process? Like, where do you find yourself enjoying producing the most?
The beginning and the end, probably.
Yeah.
The very beginning, when the idea is so innocent that it hasn't touched any of my judgment, it hasn't reached my doubts yet. It hasn't reached any form of, oh, this is going to be the one. Like before that, when it's just an idea, when it's just pure, and I feel like
Mm.
I like received it, and it's moving fast, and in a sense, it's like taking off, and it's like, you coming with me or not? Like that's
Yeah.
how it
Yeah.
feels. And the more that I question that, the more I sever that connection. When I'm like, is it supposed to be like this, or should I make a verse here, or should I? It's like, who knows? Just like turn the mic on and record. And so like a lot of my songs, I'd say 9 out of 10. I can't really think about when I wouldn't do this, unless like with Nights I wrote in silence, which
Mhm.
helped because when you write in silence, your words are naked. So like,
What do you mean in silence?
like with no beat
Oh, gotcha.
or just a metronome or no metronome.
Wow.
And I'll just write like that because then all my words have to matter and they have to make sense with the sentence before them.
Mhm.
And I end up
Mm.
coming up with like the coolest punchlines when I do that. And I like it. It's a good practice for me. I wish I did it more
That's
often.
awesome. I always think to myself, well, if I were to ever make a song, I feel like I would need first the beat and then
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that's
do you
interesting.
sort of write it like almost like a poetic, like sort of poetry type of deal, where you like
Um,
how
well
what's your
now,
writing style?
so my usual process is I'll listen to beats and I've been singing a lot recently, and
Mm.
so I'll end up singing or rapping like a cadence. And it was kind of cool because I saw this thing with Sampha and Alicia Keys on Netflix. I can't remember the name of the show, but it was a few people recording songs together, and it showed their creative process. And I thought, oh, that's so dope because that's what I do. And I literally like rap. And it's funny, like all my closest friends and family, they know if I show them a voice memo or something, it's like gibberish. Like I'll be like, enemy talk, and in the way, and it's so, and because it is that, and
Yeah.
then same thing with the singing, and then it's hard to explain because I'm not really sure what it is, but if for me it feels like naturally I can do that, but at the same time it's like must just be from all the practice. Like I feel like I know when I'm in pocket and out of pocket, and if something should go left or right, like I can feel that. And so I'll be like, this beat's dope, it's inspiring me. So then I'll just hit record and I'll go as long as I
Try to
can.
fit it.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I'll subconsciously be like, okay, so now I'm 8 bars to the verse, and now I'm 10 seconds from the chorus. So now I should do something that sounds like the ending of a verse that would launch into a chorus. And it's like I said, it's gibberish most of the time with a few words here and there.
Right.
And then I go back and give it actual words over that structure, and that's worked out a lot. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
I've always been completely enthralled by the music making process because I mean, creating in general is a very fulfilling thing to do. But when it comes to music, it can be really quick sometimes, or it can really just take you over. And you know, since music again is the most popular thing in the world,
Yeah.
and for a reason,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. It's not just for no reason. It's just there's a deep connection when you're listening and
Oh
feeling
yeah,
things
dude.
out.
If
And
you look at like 40,000 people in an arena going nuts, like
oh yeah,
I don't even care who's making the music. I don't care if it's someone, whatever the substance of the music is, if they're considered a real musician or a pop star or a ringtone rapper. It doesn't matter. When there's that many people going nuts, like that's what I'm here for. Like that's
Exactly.
the feeling I
That's
want. Like,
kinda-
it doesn't matter what you're playing. If everyone
Right.
can get together on one frequency and just go nuts to get like that's music. And I think performance in general that's like Ed Sheeran said it before, and I agree with him on it, saying like the album in your music should be the like taste tester. It should be the preview for people to want to come and see you live, because I think music ultimately is like a ritual, right? Like you're going
Yeah.
here to shed all the things that you've been holding on to, and to just like feel cleansed and feel collectively, and feel a connection with community and meet new people and dance and just say just
Let it go.
tonight
Let
just
it all
let
go.
it all go.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the ultimate that's the end
Do
goal
give
for my
yourself
music.
to the music. You know what I mean?
Yes,
When you're really
yes.
listening, you just give yourself to the music. It's a
Yes.
real destroyer of the ego. You kind of just
Absolutely.
become one with your environment.
Yep.
And it's a very specific relationship you start to cater to in your environment because
Yep.
it's just like, and
And-
it's different than most.
And I think that's why people feel such a strong connection with their favorite musicians, and they feel like they know them genuinely, especially with people who
Yeah.
are very honest in their message. And when you have something like a rock band or something who might write something more poetic, it's that same connection, but it's different. I think when you have people who write raps and it's literally just like words, like you're still being poetic, but like you're also telling a story, and it's a bit, in my opinion, more on the nose than writing in like some kind of subliminal.
That's
lyrics.
almost what's lost in a sense these days is people will go instead for the catch, the beat,
Oh yeah,
the hook,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
they don't have any substance other than
Yeah, I
just
think you can do
noise.
both.
Yeah,
I think you
do
can say
both.
bullshit,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
as long
yeah.
as you say it with and you really believe it and
Yeah.
it sounds good, then people are gonna dig it. And so, in my opinion, I'm like, you might as well just say what you want to say too,
Oh
instead
yeah,
of just like feeling
absolutely,
it. You know,
absolutely.
it's hard for me to write songs that are like what I think people want to hear. But I say it's hard, but I also try to do that,
Mhm.
and that's why I know it's hard, because sometimes I find myself going down that road. And
It's
I'm
probably
like,
not a good one to go down because it's
yeah.
like, how would you ever know what somebody wants to hear? You almost have to
Exactly.
be a little bit more catering to yourself in that instance and be like, well, what do I want to do?
What I want to say, yeah,
What
like
do I
what I
wanna
want to
say?
let out, what I want to
Yeah.
let go of, what am I going through now,
And
what have I seen before.
that response might, I mean, in your experience, does that yield a better outcome when you kind of let yourself decide what you want to say and what you want to do?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I write faster, and the song is more grounded, it's more real to me, and I have a better experience overall, and I doubt myself less when it's something that I really mean. But I also have times where I like try to do that, and then it ends up being too, like, I can't lie, there's definitely times where I'm like, people don't want to hear this. Like, I definitely think that, like, because I'll write the same
Yeah.
kind of music, but it's so weird because then I could run into an artist who does that exact thing, and they just speak their mind, and it's something that even might not even make total sense, but it just makes sense to them, but it becomes a wave because people are like, that makes sense to me too. And it's like just a sentence, like,
Yeah.
I've been going through it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, back against the wall, like it could be something so general. And if it just hits in the right song with the right beat and the right cadence, and somebody means it, and they were going through it, and other people are going through it, it's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, as a musician, you see that, you see the success it does, and you're like, it doesn't matter. Like, I shouldn't think about how I say things so much. I should just say them and mean them.
That's what I was going to ask is like,
Yeah.
do you find a way out of that? Because I feel the same way about making like podcasts. I go, who the fuck wants to listen to this?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's
But
a natural thing.
it's kind of, yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm just glad you're saying it because I feel better, a little bit better. Because like when I'm producing things, I really, honest to God, I mean, my favorite part is kind of, getting things ready and in the beginning as well. And then by the time everything's done, because I love the editing, like we were just
Yeah.
talking about, because I'm a big fan of editing as well. But at the end, it's like, who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But people do, and I do appreciate
Yeah.
again everybody's awesome support and all
I
that
think
stuff.
I
It
think
really means a lot.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like I was actually talking to my friend Jesse about this yesterday, and it's like, I can't remember the philosophical sort of like idea about it. I can't remember the name of it or who coined it or whatever, but it's basically like, you don't matter, and that's a good thing. Like, because
Yeah.
you can fail and it doesn't matter, and you can make something.
Spotlight effect. That's what it is. I
Okay.
think. So so a short video I saw about it. That might be it. I could
Yeah.
be
Go ahead.
totally wrong, but in other words, people aren't so nervous that they often will convince themselves that they are the center of what's going
They're the
on.
main character.
They're the main character and everything. All the focus is on them,
Yeah.
and all their flaws are aggressively pronounced and demonstrated to the world. When the reality is nobody's paying any attention to
No one
those
gives
things
a shit.
but
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So those flaws aren't as displayed as you might think. Do you want a little bit more?
No, I'm good. But
Okay.
actually, yeah, that's kind of like very related to like your writing process. How like when the idea first comes, you're into it, right? And I really liked how you said like before it touches my judgment and
Yeah.
all that.
That's a good. Yeah, I like that
Right,
a lot
but
too.
the only person who judges it as harshly as you do is you.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you're your worst critic.
Absolutely. I've heard songs now, like Flossie, for instance,
Yeah.
dude. You would think that is such, in the cover art's pink.
Yeah.
It's a high flying cloudy, like bubblegum kind of song.
Yeah.
And like the second half of that song was absolute hell to make. Like it went on for weeks. I didn't know if what I was saying was even making sense anymore. I was so far down the rabbit hole that I was like, dude, like what am I even making?